Hello, dear friends. It is said this week will be decisive, but nobody knows what will happen. Opinion piece. What are they waiting for? At the turtle's pace. Sacred cow plan. They act in slow motion. Slow and steady goes a long way. The turtle beats the hare. Piano piano si arriva lontano. We live in a wonderful time. The end of a long cycle is near. Decisive week for central banks. Economy would collapse in October, say experts. Electricity and gas bills stifle families and businesses. Let's start. The following is a comment from Ranra describing the situation regarding the global financial restart. In quotes, my communications with the higher spiritual entities indicate that the coalition is in trouble because a timeline is forming in which the coalition itself would become the target of the people's anger. The coalition's insistence on doing everything slowly stems from their plan, which has so far served them as the stable solution to everything and every situation, and from which they are unwilling to depart. But now they are detecting in their own future visualization technology the probable timeline described above, where their plan is no longer working and no longer provides a safe solution for success. Therefore, the coalition would be reeling and in confusion at present, being caught between a rock and a hard place, caused by their sacred cow plan that no longer provides a sure success solution to guarantee their triumph in the future, no matter how long it may take, but at the same time they would not have a better solution, and they are not willing to deviate from their constituted plan over time. I am not saying that the coalition is bad, but that it has problems. I wish things would work out according to the formula of the greatest good for all that is. The famous Italian saying, piano piano si arriva lontano, means little by little you go far, or dress me slowly because I am in a hurry. It doesn't matter how slowly you go as long as you don't stop, said Confucius. Or the ox is slow, but the earth is patient, as another Chinese sage said. It is hard to understand this instant patience in the West, because we are used to immediacy, although the Jesuit phrase, no hurry but no pause, is famous. But this argument would be a mockery for anyone in an emergency situation, although the turtle won the race against the hare, according to Aesop's famous fable. Once upon a time, as a hare and a turtle challenged each other to a race to see which of them was faster. Evidently, the hare starts off in the lead, and in short time has a great lead over his slow competitor. Seeing victory in the bag, the hare decides to sit down to rest in the shade of a tree and falls asleep. When he wakes up, the turtle is about to cross the finish line, and although the hare made a great effort to retake the race, the turtle ended up winning the race. Turning point. In contrast to this pessimistic view of Ranra, Peter B. Mayer offers an optimistic breakthrough after the mass awakening. We live in a wonderful time, and every day that passes brings us closer to the end of a long cycle. What a privilege to witness this and to participate in the great event of the planetary transition. Planet Earth has reached the most important crossroads of our civilization. This would be the last chance to save our interests and civilization. It is now or never. Repairing the damage done to all the peoples could take a long time, but all will be corrected in the end, at least if humankind awakens en masse and regains control by introducing the new QFS monetary system and replacing the existing maritime law with the law of the land. We are waiting for the breakthrough in the awakening of the masses. If all the awaken sleeping beauty, a majority sufficient for our success would be assured. When we surrender our intellect and responsibility, we also surrender our freedom and our life. When competition gives way to cooperation, it will be the time of abundance and prosperity. Acceleration. Vital Force reports the latest developments. The curtains of the theater of life are opening wide for all to witness as best as they can in the performance of their characters, lived out in each of their existences and polarities in a third-dimensional world. Indeed, you are not the same as before. Everything is accelerated in this final stretch of the long road of life and experience in illusion. The portals open one after another, and all is revealed as each consciousness is able to comprehend the changes. The divine plan is so perfect that a three-dimensional consciousness cannot yet grasp its magnitude, but the awakening will gradually bring all the assimilations needed to each incarnate, though not the same in extent for all. No one is ever forsaken, and no one has ever been before, for the Creator loses none of his sheep. In reality, you must understand that every incarnated soul on earth has come to experience light and shadow at the same time, and with limited consciousness to the extreme, all these souls experience the feeling of being separated from Source. This feeling is so strong that it has led humankind to believe that all ends with the death of the physical body. However, the knowledge of the souls proves that there is no such thing as death. Apart from the physical body, the soul recognizes that life continues. In the afterlife, its consciousness expands sufficiently to evaluate its achievements and learnings up to that point. It will remember that it has already been through many incarnations and will need many more to evolve. The time foretold by Jesus Christ is coming to an end. This is the reason for the accelerated changes you may observe. It has already been said that this would be the last incarnation in duality on this planet. The planetary transition matches the mass ascension of at least one-third of humankind. Earth's timeline has changed, and nothing can stop what is to come. The best is expected for the collective, as this timeline allows for the smoothest possible transition. But individually, each incarnated soul has a free choice as to how to navigate this end time. The message is maintain that most of the pain and suffering still felt by many is but the result of resistance to these changes. Therefore, do not resist. Immerse yourself in the flow of the wave of renewal and ride its crest. Take the example of the surfer. He is not intimidated by the power of the sea. On the contrary, the greater the fury of the wave, the more decisive the moment to overcome and win the great challenge. We are close to the great dawn of the new earth. Comparing it to earthly days and nights, we understand that the darkest hour of the night is the hour before the dawn. Therefore, at the dawn of a new age, our soul also ends its darkest hour. All will remain only in the memory of the experiences each of us has had on this long 3D journey. Opinions. According to Juan Osavin, there are many people around us right now who have no idea of some of the problems that may be coming. They are not prepared for it. Most people think that what's coming is just a handful of days and then it's over. Even the concept of it being the storm, it would be like a bad hair day with a bit of wind. Everyone could be affected by supply chain problems, out of communication for several days. Then, when normality starts to return, there will be some cleanup to do, and that may continue for a while. The loss of destruction by DM. We continue to place ourselves above and beyond the limitations that are not only imposed on us, but taught to us as if it were a given. Everything is a form of destruction, distorting the facts and altering the matter. All external distractions dangle before us to confuse and disempower us, untangle your attention from that which does not serve you on your path back to source. Do not listen to the wake to combat the art of deception until you can discern the truth. Reset news. A second lash sunspot is emerging over the southeast corner of the sun, joining AR 3105, which has doubled in size. The economy could collapse in October, according to experts. The formation of a multipolar world order system enters an active phase. The strength of the dollar disrupts the world economy and capital markets. Oil has the potential to fall towards $7 or $75 per barrel. Decisive week in singular for central banks. This week will be a key week for the major central banks. After the latest rate hike in the Eurozone, investors are preparing for a week of 13 central bank meetings that are likely to raise rates around the world. Wall Street investors are bracing for harsh winter in singular, reports the New York Post. Lebanon has closed its banks for 3 days and there are bank runs around the world. Fleming says there is no change for ZIM because China is not buying it. I have been saying the same thing for years, but I don't want to take anyone's hopes away. The Davos Forum says the billions that complied with the blockade restrictions will also comply with the social credit scheme. Negotiations. Secret negotiations. The clique is secretly trying to negotiate peace with the coalition, but its offers are being rejected, says Benjamin Fulford. Instead, Russia is demanding the abolition of the Fed, while China is preparing to invade Taiwan. Russians suggested that it is in their interest to wait until after winter before negotiating, saying that peace will begin with the end of the Fed and the current financial system, all this in quotes, as well as with the formation of a new multipolar world order with equality for all countries. Grinch inflation hurts households, according to the Nomad Economist. When an economic financial world based on endless credit meets the reality of suspicion about the inability to repay debt, all bets are off. Homeless and disenfranchised. Right now, homeless encampments are expanding in cities like Los Angeles, Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Auckland. The situation will worsen as inflation accelerates and people become unemployed due to plummeting economic activity, while manufacturers scale back operations. Why do so many natural disasters strike our planet as we approach the end of summer? Asks Michael Snyder. In recent days, our planet has been hit again and again by major natural disasters. We are coming to the end of summer we will remember for a long time. The Western US, Europe and China are in the midst of the worst drought they have experienced in centuries, and relentless flooding has devastated other areas. Americas. Latin America's debt continues to grow and threatens the most vulnerable. The triple La Niña weather episode could jeopardize harvests in Argentina, Brazil and Uruguay due to droughts caused by low rainfall and high temperatures, expect one. It is the first time in a century that La Niña has occurred for 3 consecutive years. A 7.7 magnitude earthquake strikes Mexico on the same day as the 1985 and 2017 earthquakes. Mexican authorities record 692 aftershocks from the quake that left 2 dead in Michoacán. After the 7.7 quake in Mexico, the Popocatépetl and Colima volcanoes are active. Mexico earthquake causes sea level rise on the Pacific coast. The next period of intense seismic activity in Mexico will occur between 2024 and 2028, so authorities should take preventive measures to avoid a major catastrophe, according to information obtained from a digital model developed by universities in Mexico, Argentina, the US and Hungary. AMLO lashes out at countries that send arms to Ukraine. López Obrador insists on his wet peace plan despite criticism from Ukraine. López Obrador says that the West places any actor who calls for dialogue between Kiev and Moscow as an agent of the Kremlin. In quotes. Colombian president tells United Nations that the war on drugs has failed. Argentina adds more restrictions on access to the foreign exchange market. The Central Bank of Argentina prevents agro-exporters of soya from accessing the official dollar. 94% of forest fires in Bolivia are consuming the east of the country. Panama provides daily medical assistance to 1,000 migrants, mostly Venezuelan. A popular uprising takes hold in Haiti. United Kingdom. On Monday, 19th September, the elites attending the Queen's funeral were told that the collapse of their governments and banking systems would lead to debt relief. The coffin was made of lead, so as not to allow certain technology to penetrate and see what is inside. The UK raises flags again after the end of mourning. More than 250,000 people attended to the funeral chapel. Simon Parkes says, in quotes, "It is possible that the banks will close this weekend. Accounts would be frozen, and there would be no online payments. This would be the planned event on 24th September, although the Pentagon now says to take cash out now. The bank shutdown would last 2 to 10 days, and the extent would depend on opposition from the other side." Europe. Spain cuts VAT on natural gas from 21 to 5%. Electricity and gas bills are suffocating families and businesses. What little is earned has to be paid for. The European Central Bank estimates that house prices will fall by 9% as interest rates rise. More than 300 French companies are in trouble because of rising energy prices. Germany has woken up. It is now realizing that shutting everything down during an energy crisis is not a smart move, according to the X22 report. United Nations deplores European Union's return to coal as Poland suffers fuel shortages. Operators say the transition to green energy made by the grid unreliable and prone to blackouts. European Union threatens Hungary with suspension of 7.5 billion European funds. Switzerland imports more than 5 tons of gold from Russia in August. Turkey starts paying for gas in rubles. Turkish banks suspend Russian milk cards to avoid sanctions. Ukrainian troops shelled the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and damaged the infrastructure, including the cooling system. Chinese troops are now entering Ukraine to fight for Russia, according to John Rawle. Taiwan hit by another strong 7.2 magnitude earthquake on Sunday. Taiwan denounces an incursion by Chinese planes and ships into its defense zone. Palestinian political factions to resume reconciliation dialogue in Algeria. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.